Okay, let's just dive right in. If you're a founder, trying to understand the world of private equity can feel a lot like sailing into a massive storm without a map. So in this explainer, we're going to give you that map. We'll help you find a true partner and, just as importantly, avoid the predators. First, you just have to appreciate the sheer scale of this ocean we're talking about. I mean, think about this. Back in 1980, there were maybe 24 private equity firms. Today, there are over 12,000. Now, that explosion of capital creates incredible opportunities, but it also means the competition for deals is absolutely fierce, and that can lead to some, let's just say, very aggressive tactics. So, this is the big question, isn't it? It's the one every founder has to ask. With thousands of firms all promising you the moon, growth, capital, support, how do you actually find the one that's going to help you build your vision, instead of the one that's just looking to strip the company for a quick flip? Make no mistake, it is a very high-stakes search. And this search is all taking place in the modern PE landscape. For founders, yeah, it's an ocean of opportunity if you're looking for growth or even a little liquidity. But, and this is a big but, for anyone who's unprepared, it is also filled with hidden reefs that can completely sink the business you've spent your entire life building. Okay, so to navigate these tricky waters, you need the right tools. We're going to put together what I call an essential toolkit. Basically, a set of key terms and concepts that will help you find what's known as founder-friendly capital. This is all about finding the right kind of money, not just any money. First up in the toolkit, the minority position. This is a huge one. It basically means you get the capital you need to grow your business, but you don't give up the driver's seat. You get to keep majority ownership and, maybe most importantly, you keep control over your company's destiny and its culture. Next is something called 10-year capital, or as some people call it, patient capital. And believe me, this is a massive differentiator. See, your typical PE fund has a 3 to 7 year hold period, which creates this intense pressure for a quick sale. Patient capital, on the other hand, aligns your new partner with your long-term vision. It gives your strategy the time it actually needs to work. You know, finding the right partner is really only half the battle. The other half is structuring the right deal. The choices you make at this stage are absolutely critical, and they're going to define your relationship with this new investor for years to come. And right here, you can really see the two different paths you can go down. Over on the left, you've got a founder-friendly structure. It's clean, it's simple, and it's aligned with what you want. But then on the right, you have an investor-focused deal, which is often full of complex terms like earnouts that create new risks and shift control away from you. Let's talk about that term for a second, the earnout. On the surface, it sounds fair, right? You get paid more if the company does well. But here's the catch. In reality, it ties your final paycheck to future results that, after the deal closes, you might not fully control anymore. It creates a fundamental misalignment from day one. In fact, this risk is so well known, you don't have to take my word for it. Vice Chancellor Travis Laster of the Delaware Court of Chancery, a guy who sees these disputes all the time, put it perfectly. He said, an earnout often converts today's disagreement over price into tomorrow's litigation over the outcome. It's basically a recipe for conflict. Okay, so you found a partner, you've negotiated the key terms, now you enter the final stage, what I call the closing gauntlet. This is where your leverage is at its absolute lowest, and trust me, your resolve is about to be tested. And the biggest danger lurking in that gauntlet is the retrade. Some people in the industry cynically call it the hosing at the closing. It's an aggressive tactic where just before you get to the finish line, the buyer suddenly demands a lower price. They know you've already invested a ton of time and money, and you're desperate to avoid the stigma of a failed deal. So how does this power shift even happen? Well, it happens in stages. When you first sign that letter of intent, you still have leverage because there's competition in the market. But the moment you grant exclusivity, a clock starts ticking, and the leverage dramatically shifts to the buyer. Now they've got you locked in. So how do you defend against this? It's one word: preparation. This is your playbook. You have to find and fix your own problems before they can be used against you. Get a third-party report to validate your financials. Vet your buyers' reputations. Some firms are notorious for this tactic. And most importantly, always be prepared to walk away. Your ultimate power is your ability to say no. But if you can successfully navigate that gauntlet, you don't just get a check. You get something much more valuable, a true partner. And this is where the real value creation begins, and it goes way beyond just the capital they invested. This is what we call growth assistance. A real partner rolls up their sleeves and actually helps you professionalize and scale the business. They bring in experts, they open doors through their networks, and they provide the capital and the know-how to acquire smaller complementary businesses to really accelerate your growth. And this assistance is super concrete. It's not just fuzzy advice. It often follows a proven playbook that involves these 6 steps: aligning on a strategy, optimizing operations, expanding into new markets, developing your talent, adopting new tech, and executing those strategic bolt-on acquisitions. One of the simplest but most powerful benefits is purely financial. Because of the PE firm's reputation and its relationships with lenders, your company can suddenly access debt at a much, much lower cost. This cheaper capital frees up cash flow that you can then reinvest directly back into the business, which just fuels even more growth. So all of this really leads to one final, crucial question. It kind of reframes the whole process. The goal isn't just to prepare for a sale. It's to build a capital-friendly business that's so attractive, the best firms out there start competing to be your partner, not just your buyer.